Welcome back. This is episode 207 of NooBTooB, a weekly independent podcast where Yuzo is still on daddy leave, growing the big hobo...
Paternabeard.
I like that. I like that. So we're still here at Yuzo's house. Not a green screen. These are like real... This is like stuff. There's real things in this house.
Hopefully, Tobin will be able to go back and then change the background to be a spaceship.
Yeah, that's true.
This is really boring background.
It should just be like a Sarlacc.
Yeah. That would be awesome.
But anyway, I'm Tobin Kozire.
And I'm Yuzo Watanabe. This week we are covering a bunch of huge games. The big one is Enslaved, Odyssey to the West. We also have Dead Space Ignition, Comic Jumper, and Def Jam Rapstar.
New releases include Medal of Honor, Super Scribblenauts, Sonic the Hedgehog 4 Episode 1, and Lufia, Curse of the Sinistrals.
What a bizarre name.
Sinistrals will fuck you up.
Yeah. I
think that wasn't that one of the Transformers? It was like the ones that, it's a Sinistral. It looked like a little snail.
Are you sure it wasn't that old game that like it had the asteroids and it's like, I hunger?
It could be. So anyway... Cheers.
Ding! What do we got? We got Alfaro Family Vineyards.
Yes. We're getting drunk in the middle of the day at Yuzo's house.
That's right.
And then Yuzo will go back to being a good father, smelling like a wino.
That's right.
So let's get started with Enslaved.
Enslaved. So this is a pretty big game from the guys from Ninja Theory, the guys that did Heavenly Sword way back in the day.
That was our game of the year.
Yes.
On opposite day.
It was a shame of the year. But yeah, it was. I think it was supposed to be like the hundreds, right? Back in the early hundreds of our episodes. And we didn't like it for a number of reasons. Load times were a big one. Yeah. And I got to say, the load times aren't a big issue.
No. I mean, they do a really clever job. I did notice that what they did for this one for load times was they'd be doing things where Trip would go to a door and she's like, hold on, let me hack the door. I'm like, you're loading that level. I can see what you're doing, but... That's fine. I mean, it was all like they would usually have very clever dialogue while she was doing it, and I never once got mad at the load times at all.
Yeah. Well, it's almost like with Dead Space, right? With Dead Space, you'd see the thing that's open, you hit it, you're like, right? And you're like, I guess it takes a while for the door to load.
Yeah, I mean, it's thinking. It's
okay.
thinking. So what's the game like?
So this game is based loosely based off one of the old Chinese folk stories called Journey to the West, I believe.
I keep hearing that, and I've
never
read
research
that.
On Wikipedia.
I didn't. I'm not familiar with that story.
But my understanding, there's a god of some sort. Some guy has control over the god through some sort of means, and then tells him to do various things. So, and they go from one place to the other. But this is slightly similar, but it's set into the post-apocalyptic future.
Yes.
What happened to the world? I'm still trying to figure it out.
Robot versus mech versus human. So it's kind of like if you imagine the world of Terminators. This is pretty much the same thing. It's the world has become completely battled between mechs and humans, and it looks like the humans took it in the butt.
Yeah.
They did not come out victorious in this battle.
No, but they still
kind
have
of like in reality. When the computers rise up, we're gonna lose.
Pretty much.
They're way quicker than us.
We're gonna be the slaves, just like
they're just gonna show us all porn and then just stab us in the back of the head where I'm just like boobies.
But is that seriously a bad life to live?
No.
So,
put me in the Matrix and show me porn. I don't care.
Yeah. But yeah, no. So like that's kind of the world where you're in, except like I guess you're sort of tribal-ish. Yeah. Is my understanding. There's you kind of have your little things, and you start out. If you play the demo, you're on a slave ship. You're monkey, and Trip is this slave girl, something like that, who messes up the ship and then needs to go in the crash of the ship. Right.
So then what happens is she gets a slaver helmet. She enslaves you so that you have to do whatever she says, or she can cause you pain. That's the theory. So then she's like, I need to get home. Yeah. I was stolen by a slave ship. I need to get home. And you are this badass dude who was also stolen by a slave ship, and she's got you as her bitch, and you have to follow her and do what she says.
Yeah. And like you go through these various journeys, which we won't go into because we won't spoil the story or anything. But if you look at the gameplay, it's kind of it's hard to explain because it feels when I first started playing it was like, wow, this is so Uncharted. Yeah. There's a lot of the climbing, a lot of the jumping, things like that. But that was kind of the first chapter. Right. And then after you start going on, it starts turning a lot more puzzly. I noticed.
Yeah, there's some puzzles, not many.
Not many, but you know what I'm talking about, right? It's all based off of like, okay, you would go through a various area, and you need to go to various spots
Right.
by having cover, and you'd have to use Trip,
Yes.
special ability,
to
do distraction, to distract a certain time to go to the next area. So
Okay.
I felt like I was doing cover jumping puzzle.
Yeah, okay, I see
Puzzle
what
solving,
I see what you're saying. So, yeah, definitely
lot
like
of it.
action puzzle
Yeah.
sort of thing. And I really like that, where you've got the left button and you can control Trip. So you're like, hey, throw up a distraction. She does a projection, and the dudes shoot at that while you run over and you try and flank them and do this other stuff. And what's cool is later on, Trip starts to be able to do other things where you can tell her to do stuff all the time, where even to the point where she's spinning a windmill or something, and you get a different radial menu where you're like start and stop it, and you're doing that to solve puzzles where you're like, all right, start the windmill, and you jump on it to get to a different part, and you're like, stop the windmill.
Oh, okay.
So she controls the environment in a lot of different ways. Like you're basically giving her commands.
Interesting, which is kind of odd considering she's the one that's enslaving you.
Right,
with
right,
the slave collar. But I thought that was really cool. They also added elements where she could heal you.
Yeah.
With certain things, you got all these different. It's kind of weird because you're playing the game, and when you actually go into the combat, it starts to feel a little bit of God of War-ish. Where, you have all these different combos, but you do have a range attack as well, where you can stun people. Yeah. You can stun people with your rod.
Yes.
You can blow them up and do other things, and that all actually plays into the puzzle aspect where you have to go from point A to point B.
Right.
It all works really well together.
And I don't know if you got as far as the hoverboard, but there's also some levels where you get a hoverboard and you're like skating around.
Nice.
And
is it more like a
off
race
jumps.
kind of?
There's actually a couple race elements where it's not a race like, hey, I'm in a hoverboard race trying to get first prize. It's more like a race like, there's a fucking rhinoceros monster that captured Trip, and you're chasing, like that sort of thing, where it's all very plot related.
Yeah, and they do the standard stuff where it's like there's a couple of turret spots, there's a couple of other things. So it all feels like they've taken a lot of different elements and kind of rolled them together from pure gameplay wise. So it feels a little derivative, at least some of the game part.
Yeah, I mean it's an action game. I mean it's for what it is. Like I think that every game is derivative in some sense, and I think that what they did with this is they said, what we're really going to push is the story.
Yeah, and
they did a fantastic job because the world. What's funny is you and I complained about the graphics in the demo.
Yeah.
And I was starting to play the game and I noticed the graphics, and then a couple hours in I never noticed them again.
Really?
Because I never did. Because what happened is it started to be their aesthetic. Like they use it well enough.
Crappy as an aesthetic.
Well, I mean, like the way that the world was built, it almost started to kind of look like the way that like the Beyond Good and Evil world is built or something. Like it's very lush, and it's they did a lot of things where I didn't notice it as much.
Well, see, that's really interesting because like I was hopping back and forth between Castlevania and this game since they both came out very similar to each other, and just like I noticed how good Castlevania looked, and then every time I came back to this, I'm like, wow, this still looks like crap.
Yeah, but didn't you then also notice that the character model in Castlevania looked like dog anus?
Okay, the model. Yeah, you're right.
I mean, the models in Enslaved are. I've never seen emotion like this on the faces in a game. Like it was.
You're absolutely correct.
But you're right. I mean, the world looks better in Castlevania.
Well, it's almost to me like Ninja Theory Win said like, okay, no, like all these polys and all this stuff, we're going to put them in the characters,
in the face. That's it.
And no, even the animations.
Yeah,
the animations are really good. So it's like you're right. The characters and all that, but the environment is pretty crappy looking.
I don't think it's crappy. I mean, I like it's
for a 2010 game compared to a lot of the other. Like if you pop in any other game like these days, it doesn't quite. It doesn't
look as good. But the thing is, it feels to me like a lot more of the engine struggling as opposed to them not. I don't know. Like it's hard to say.
Unreal Engine 3, really?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, but the thing is too. It's funny. People were saying like, they were talking about our reviews of the demo, and they're saying like, well, yeah, go back to Heavenly Sword. It had the same issues.
Oh.
But honestly, I didn't remember noticing the graphics be that bad because I think we were playing on the PS3, and this one I played on 360.
I played that.
You played on 360. So I'm not sure if it's a console-based thing. Maybe the PS3 version looks a lot better.
Yeah.
Who knows? But I gotta say, dude, the voice acting in this is phenomenal,
and the writing. So it's like they're doing a great job of the voice acting and the writing. There's actually laugh out loud moments. I mean, the characters of Trip and Monkey. You're a couple hours in, and suddenly I've got like a man crush on both Trip and Monkey. Like Trip is friggin' hot, and she's smart and funny, and she's very capable. Like she's not kind of one of these stereotypical female characters always being rescued.
Yep.
You're fucking hucking her around, and she's climbing up on
awesome.
stuff.
Yeah.
And then Monkey is funny. He's just this grumpy son of a bitch. Reminds me of myself a lot. And it's
without coffee, basically.
Without coffee and way more muscular. Dude is a big pile of muscle. But I mean, just the whole way through, the story and the writing and everything is just really captivating.
Yeah, and they also like introduce a lot of characters which you don't typically see. It's like you don't have your balding space marine. You don't have. I mean, sure, yeah, he's like a really muscular guy, but he's got this sort of weird like Han Solo-y element to him, right? That you don't. They try to do a lot of people try to insert these like roguish elements, but they never succeed.
And they end up doing these things where it's like the kind of gruff Gear of War guy where it's kind of cool if you feel like being an emotionless badass, but I like the story games to just be, like, I mean, I think you're exactly right, Han Solo. Like because that's what Nathan Drake is like, that's what a lot of these characters are like when these characters have that spark to them, then it's fun to play them.
Yeah, and same thing with Trip too, like you were saying, like she's not your stereotypical, whatever. And she's also not your stereotypical like Lara Crofty type.
No.
She's like slightly, sensitive, slightly, like a damsel in distress, but at the same time she can also kick ass. It's just this.
Yeah, I mean, she's not there for sexiness. Like she's she's sexy as shit, but I mean she's not just kind of like some lipstick, whatever.
Yeah. And that's the thing about, like, for me, this entire game is all about subtlety and being adult. It's like this is adult storytelling.
It is,
right?
It is, and the cool thing is they've got all these other game references in there where it's just they'll have things like references to Shadow of the Colossus or kind of
like Castlevania. Sorry. Sorry. Yes.
I mean, the elements that they'll have will kind of remind me of other games. Where it's just like little pieces that, or even making fun of things like 3D TV, where they'll throw in these jokes where it's like they'll walk past this big pile of boxes. He's like, "What is all this shit?" And she's like, "Oh, some outdated, redundant technology," and all the boxes say 3D television.
Ouch!
And I was like, "Right the fuck on! I'm done with 3D. It's not even here yet."
Yeah. Well, but not the 3DS.
No,
that's
3DS should be
freaking awesome. But so like overall, like it's kind of weird because I want to say, like, buy at launch, it's like this game's awesome, but at the same time, like the gameplay isn't like excellent, isn't like world.
So
basically
what don't
like
you like about the gameplay?
Well, the gameplay is like, okay, well, I wanted when I first played the demo, I was like, holy shit, this is awesome.
Yeah.
I'm doing all these different set pieces and all that. Right after that chapter, what happened to the set pieces? Like there were a few, like there was like the one with the crane, there was a couple more later on, but it's just like they really spaced it out where all of a sudden the pace was like, like adrenaline crazy, and then, oh, okay, and I need to go take cover over here. Oh, I got to do this. And it kind of stretches for a while, like 3-4 hours. You get to the crane, so a little bit more stretch, and then you get, probably get the hoverboard, which I didn't get to. So like when I was playing the game, I was just like, yeah, the story's really good, the acting's good, but I only play this other game.
Interesting.
And I'll come back. It just didn't have that draw to me where I really want, like, especially after Dead Rising, like after I beat that, I kept going back to that for like a week. This one didn't have that same draw for me, so that's why it's a little tough for me to say, yeah, go out and pay $60 for this game.
See, for me, it hooked me right away. Like, I couldn't put it down. I mean, I really actually wanted to beat it before we did this episode, where I'm on chapter 13, and I was like, last night, I seriously turned it off at like 3 in the morning. I'm like, I'm gonna fucking beat this! And then finally I'm like playing with one eye open. I'm like, all right, fine, I give up. I totally wanted to do it, but like I think that for me it's enough where it doesn't have to be like a big set piece. Like I like a set piece even where it's like, you're fighting your way across a bridge and Trip is doing this and you're running across. Like it kept the drama high enough without having the pieces be big enough.
Really?
Yeah, I mean,
but
like
even those stretches where like you're going around picking up all of the different little dots and then. Yeah, because that's what to me is like to me it was more of a problem of pacing. Where it's just like, okay, you're gonna you do have a really amazing start, and there's a couple of these high points, but there's these valleys where it's just like, yeah, I get what you're doing. You're making me like do cover. You're making me use some of these things and a little bit of combat. Every
that's the
once
whole
in a while.
game. Well,
that's what I'm saying. It's just like, but I played the demo and I feel a little cheated. But at the same time, I'm like, damn, the story's really good. The writing is awesome. The style is really awesome.
Yeah.
So
but, I mean, the thing is in the demo, like when you go from the demo to the game, right? In the demo, all it was linear platforming, right? You're just hammering A.
Yeah, but I'm like, what's going to happen next?
But there's like no skill in it. Like the whole,
that's true.
Once you get to the game, then you're actually doing fighting with cover and all this other stuff. You're not just pushing up and hammering A, right?
I don't know.
It was cooler looking.
It was cooler looking. I would even venture to say it was more fun to me.
Wow.
Because like when I'm doing the combat and all that, the combat engine isn't that interesting. Right? It's like
so once you start leveling up, I mean, the thing is there's
I've
a
heard
very
that actually,
elaborate. So the whole thing is you're going around picking up all these energy dots, and then through Trip you can upgrade. So you're upgrading. You're getting a bunch of new combat abilities. You're getting the ability, like once you hit somebody successfully a bunch of times, your stick supercharges, and you just go into like a turbo demo, whatever, and like.
So saying it's really more fun later in the game where they all add all the extra.
Yeah, I mean it's the God of War thing, right? Where it's just like you start out with just kind of like whip, and then.
But it's pretty fun when you start in God of War, which is I guess is kind of the main difference. But I thought it was hilarious when you talked about the first the first whatchamacallit upgrade you got?
Yes. Yeah. We're talking because the thing is like there's this whole big menu of upgrades, and I was like, and I am'd you. I'm just like, holy shit, dude, health regen. And the first thing you're just like, that's the exact same one I got.
Yeah, it's the first one that I got too, and it's just like, of course. You look at it, it's just like, of course.
Yeah.
Like it's a pain.
It's gamer instincts. Like your gamer instincts. Like you look through all the upgrades, and it's like health regen. You're like, oh motherfucker! Like I'm not going to be looking for health at place to place. Like I could just
I'll wait in the corner.
There. Yes,
I'll just do some email for a bit or something.
Exactly. Like it'll come back, and then you can get all sorts of cool upgrades with your stun bolt like branches out and hits multiple people, and like all that kind of stuff. So the funny thing is my biggest complaint about it, about the whole game, is the brain dead platforming, where it's really cool to watch.
It is. Yeah.
It's not hard to do.
No, not at all.
I mean,
but isn't it fun?
It is. It is. I mean, but that's the thing is it's fun in that I'm watching a movie, right? Where it's just, like I'm just kind of watching something cool happen. I enjoy watching something cool happen. What's the difference between
that and Uncharted, though? Because Uncharted, like if you think about the platforming, yeah, there's a couple of timing elements, but for the most part, it's go here, go here, go here, go here. Floor drops out from under you, shoot some people, go over here.
Well, but I mean, I don't think that the platforming in Uncharted is what draws me to that either. You know what I mean? Like I like the combat, I like the story, I like the exploration, I like the world.
So you're saying that the platforming is roughly.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a common thing these days, right?
Yeah, it is.
These days, like even if you look at the platforming in Castlevania, I mean, it's very much of
hit A to do cool stuff.
Yeah,
right.
And that's kind of what we're going with these things. Where we're not seeing very much these days in terms of challenging platforming. We're seeing. Here's 3 shiny ledges, and you push up, and you're like ledge, ledge, ledge,
with no chance of dying, no chance of falling off, no chance of anything.
So I mean, platforming is becoming very linear now, where it's just kind of more watch something cool happen.
I think you're right, because if you think about it, like you look at all where of the really cool platforming stuff is happening, it's happening on PSN and XBLA.
And Wii.
And Wii, and like the 2D stuff. Like you even go back, and it's like, wow, like really Super Mario Galaxy. That is some tough-ass platforming.
That is tough platforming.
But all these other story-based games and they do everything else.
You're like, an afterthought.
Yeah, and they actually, I think they put more time and effort in the combat, which I kind of want them to do because I always ding everybody else. It's like, are you as good as God of War? Are you as good as... Even Uncharted, you're right. Uncharted had really good combat.
Yeah.
If you're not up there, then you kind of suck, right?
Right. So, I mean, it does seem like they're basically substituting it now where it's just... This is a way for you to experience how cool our level design is.
Yeah.
As opposed to figure out anything challenging. Like the thing with Uncharted is a lot closer to Tomb Raider in the sense that a lot of times you're flipping switches and you're moving shit around and you're figuring stuff out.
Right?
It's puzzly, but then once you're doing the platforming, it's easy. Yeah. So in an Enslaved, it's very much of jump, 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 and then there's 3 or 4 times where Trip is moving stuff around, and that gets more fun. Yeah. Like all the stuff that's movable is really fun, but where it's just like climb up a wall for me is kind of boring.
Yeah, and they kind of do a lot of that.
Yeah,
and I think it feels to me like they do use go cover, use Trip to distract. They do that to make the puzzle elements happen, but they don't ever do it with the platforming or anything else.
Not at all. But the combat, the combat I find really, really fun. Like a lot of the boss battles, there's huge fucking mechs with multi-stage takedowns. Yep. There's like these big mechanical dogs and rhinos and big super monster things where you're like actually bringing down pieces of the environment to blow them up. And I mean, they really, really did a lot of good work on the combat, in my opinion.
Cool. Well, so like I didn't really see it, at least in the first 3 to 4 hours that I played. So for me, I'm going to give it a thumbs up rental. Yeah. $60. I mean, it's good. Yeah. But like, you could probably wait a couple of weeks, a month when it drops $10 or $20 immediately. You know what I mean?
It's true. It's true. I mean, that's the thing.
It's not that long either. That's what I heard anyways, right?
I mean, it's 12 hours.
12 hours? Okay. I heard that's close under, but yeah.
So, I mean, it is an adventure game that's, this is... Adventure games generally aren't all that replayable. Like, you may go back in a couple of years and replay them. Yeah. But I loved it. I think it's really, really fun. And what drew me in, like I said, is just the story is awesome. It's really, really fun to watch.
No complaints about the story. Like I love the fact that they're bringing storytelling to new heights in video games. Because you go there and you look at some of these other, like, right after you play Enslaved, play a lot of other games, right? And it's just like, the acting is god-awful. The script is god-awful.
I mean, listen to the shit that Patrick Stewart's saying in Castlevania.
I was reading it, and then like he'd say it, and I'd be like, think about it, and I'd be like,
he just said nothing. Exactly. Like it's
what does that mean? me!
Like, it's going from a fantastic writing staff to, like, some fucking nerd that read a bunch of Dragonlance books and is just like, this man wanders through the dark, fighting his own personal demons. Just like, shut the fuck up.
It's just like, what? Like, I
hire a writer.
Yeah, it's like, you just, like, you know, what is it? Gabriel went to the crypt. Like, that would at least tell me what's going on, right? Gabriel killed vampires.
You're right. It would have been better just be like stupid, childish, like, I kill bad dude. As opposed to like this 3 paragraphs where you're like, Patrick Stewart just read this, and I just read it again, and it says nothing for the whole page.
I have no idea what's going on. None.
Yeah.
At least they got good voice actors to do it, but the writing is really bad. We'll talk about that next week.
We'll talk about that later. I just think it's really funny, like, because like you said, you and I
went back,
we're going back and forth between those games, so you get to see the contrast between the way that they approached each one of them.
Yep.
So anyway, that is Enslaved.
Yep.
I loved it.
Oh, guess what I forgot to do?
Oh shit. I think we started 15 minutes ago. So
cool.
So next up is Dead Space Ignition.
Yeah, so this is the second one. This is just after Dead Rising Case Zero.
Yeah.
There's another DLC for $5.
Right.
That they're trying to push on everybody to play before the real game.
Right, and this is a lot closer to the Fable model of mini games as opposed to the Dead Rising model, which is the game.
Yeah.
Right.
So what, you can't go play as Isaac in a space station?
You don't get to play as anybody ever.
What?
It's you watch a bunch of Dead Space movies and then it goes
kind of anime style, right?
Yeah.
Like comic book style.
Yeah. So the whole thing is, I don't know. I actually didn't look up what we unlock. So the thing is, if you go through Dead Space Ignition,
suit, I hear
is a suit.
A suit.
Is it just going to be aesthetics? Is it like no functionality at all?
Well, think about it this way: if it's functionality and all of a sudden it makes the first part of the game too easy, do you want that? Because there was that thing that people complained.
I want a separate gun. I want a gun that's like, it doesn't have to be better or worse. It's just another gun.
So if it was a mining gun that shot blue instead of red.
No! I want a different gun. I want a gun that does something new.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like the idea of playing a game early and unlocking some shit in the game. I just would like it to be something more interesting than your suit is silver instead of gold.
Well, I mean, for me, like I wouldn't actually mind it to give me a little more experience. But if you look at how the Dead Rising did it, Dead Rising, it's all about keep on playing and replaying, and you get more powerful each time you do it. So this one just totally made sense. You're level 5, and you get a little bit of a bump. Yeah. But it's not any more bump.
I mean, give me a couple skill points. You know, like that's the thing with I can't remember now, but I remember in Dead Space you had to level up some stuff. I know you're just leveling up guns, weren't you?
Yeah.
Give me a point on some guns.
Okay.
But the whole thing. So the whole thing with this is it is a story. It is a prequel. I guess it's between 1 and 2, or maybe it's even before 1. It might be before 1.
I don't remember. Yeah.
Because this is the first outbreak. This is right when the aliens actually first appear.
So when they find the marker. And,
yeah.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So what happens is you get to watch the story, and there's a couple choose your own adventure points where they say, do you want to go to the hospital or go to the airlock?
What's the difference?
Nothing.
Okay.
Well, it's a different story, right?
Okay,
So you get to branch through and see different story elements, and then all it is punctuated by 3 mini games.
Yeah, so I only played the trial, so I got to play the hacking minigame, which pretty much felt like...
Are you talking about the one with the lines?
So it's the one where you're basically, it's like a race where you're going through it's a hacking minigame, where you're going through the little things that make you go faster, and you have the guys chasing you.
Yeah. Is that the only one they let you play in the demo?
They let you play one, and that's it.
Okay, so
tell me, with $5, what do you get?
So here's the thing: is I love Dead Space so much that when I saw it was $5, I just bought it. I was just like, it's fucking $5. I don't care.
Without even the trial.
Well, I played the trial, but I'm just saying that like I was not impressed with that minigame.
Yeah, because I was just like, and then I look, and it says played 2 other types of minigames.
Right. They should have let you trial the minigames because the thing is that to me is the least interesting. There's a second one where you're actually releasing viruses, and you have a strategy. So you have a certain amount of time, and there's a whole grid. And what happens is you can release like stealth viruses or antiviruses or whatever, and they're crawling through. And like so,
why does that sound like a tower defense game?
Kind of. It sounds actually. So here's the thing: is if you imagine the reverse of a tower defense game, where somebody else already has a defense set up and you're attacking it, that's what it is. So you're the bad guys in the tower defense.
Oh, so you see the map first?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's kind of clever. I mean, like, none of these are change the world, whatever, but they're, for $5, you know, like, my bar is a lot lower. So that one's kind of clever. So you're basically releasing, so it's like, some will make the guns shooting you go slower, so you can release viruses after them. Some are stealthy, so they can get past other guns. And
so are you doing the order of the thing?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you have a certain amount of viruses you can release, and you're kind of timing it to get them through.
That's actually kind of cool. Okay.
It is kind of cool. And then the one that was my favorite is... There's a whole grid, and there's red and blue lasers, and you have to get them to the correct endpoints. So you've got mirrors, and you've got splitters, and you've got a couple other things. And it's like you can combine red and blue to make yellow to open certain ones, and you've got a certain amount of time. You can blow up transistors, like, because they're in your way. They're like on a board and stuff.
So it's basically like the pipe mini game of
yes.
Bioshock.
Yeah, kind of like that. So that was my favorite.
And how many different ones of each one are there?
There's maybe 10 of each.
Oh, okay, so it's fairly significant.
It took me a couple hours. I mean, it was one of those things where it's like I played for a couple hours, I got a little bit of Dead Space story.
Yeah.
Pretty poorly animated, but like, I don't understand, like...
Action comics ain't all that awesome.
It's not... It kind of reminded me of, like, the animation from C-Lab 2021. If you guys have ever seen that show, it's just like... And it's just like, you know, like kind of like a freeze screen of someone and then Debbie showing her tits.
Pretty much. No tits in this one, I'd imagine.
No tits! I couldn't even hack the tits.
Not even necromorph tits?
No tits at all.
Man.
So I, you know, they all start off really easy, and you're just like, wow, this is kind of stupid. And then they crank up to the end where they get a lot more challenging. Then they even threw in time challenges, so you can play against your friends list, and they give you more of these things, and you can
more
do
of what things?
Like multiplayer, like real time. They put up a puzzle, two people are playing, and you actually try and beat somebody else through the laser.
It's not a ghost either. It's like
it's a real person.
Oh, so
and there's leaderboards for timing and stuff. So I mean,
$5. That doesn't actually sound that bad.
That's what I'm saying. So.
Why'd they pick the worst one?
I don't know. I don't know. I think they chased a lot of people away with that. I really feel like, because people are they're like, this is your mini game?
Well, that's what I said. I'm looking at it and I'm like, and you said, yeah, I bought it. And I'm like,
why? Money burning a hole in your pocket?
Yeah, it's just like, are you? Well, that's when you saw that I was on the Comic Jumper list, right? I'm like,
is that this week? Are we talking about this week?
Yeah, we're talking about next, actually.
Yeah, so Comic Jumper, I was very surprised after playing the demo. It showed me a leaderboard, and it was a level that I didn't have access to play, and it was just like, Yuzo has this score. I was like, did you fucking buy this? What the hell?
Interesting parallel, but actually, like after hearing you talk about Dead Space, I might.
I think it's fun, and it's the kind of thing that I really want to encourage, because it doesn't feel like cashing in, and it's just one of those things where they just gave you a little taste of a different gameplay themed in the same.
See, I don't like that. I mean, if you're going to sell something for $5, just give me like not the first level, because that's kind of what a demo does.
Yeah,
give me 2 or 3 hours of content that shows me what the game's going to be like, but it's more than a demo. Like, I'm willing to pay for, like, with Dead Rising, just did perfectly.
Yeah, no, you like that a lot.
Perfectly. It's just like, and it's seriously like 2-3 hours, and you can keep replaying it if you want to do more.
Yeah, no, I like that too.
Give me that with, like, any of these other, big games that are coming out. Yeah. Like, I would love to play Epic Mickey early.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And, like, can you imagine 2 or 3 hours of that where you get some side-scrolling and all that? Like,
as long as
Disney,
it's not
$5.
pre-playing stuff that you're going to replay
Exactly.
later.
It has to be, like, a special, it's DLC.
Yeah, just have some people make a separate map, whatever.
Yeah. And give me a little something when I play the real game.
Yeah. For my case, I would support both. Like, I would much have preferred to play some Dead Space 2, but there is a Dead Space 2 demo out right now, so you can just play that for free. And then there's this. So anyway, I liked it, and for $5, so this is one of those things where it's like, if this had been $10, I would have said no. I would have given it a thumbs down. For $5. Like, this is the correct price point for what this is, and I appreciate them doing it right.
Wow.
They could have gone for 800 points easy.
You think?
I mean, it's Dead Space, right? I mean, like, it's one of the biggest moneymakers of last year.
Actually, it didn't sell that much as other games.
I thought they said it was like... I thought that they said it did pretty well.
No, like originally, like when Dead Space was 2 years ago, I believe, and like when it came out, people were like, "Yeah, it hasn't hit 1 million yet." It eventually did, but it actually...
I thought that it was kind of like a sleeper. I thought that it kind of took off. But...
I mean, it eventually did make a lot of money, but again, like not compared to like mass or whatever else games. Came
that's
out
true.
That. But I kind of hope that they do really well, because like we played Dead Space 2 at PAX, and this game
is fucking awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's already got my 2011 Game of the Year like slot marked out somewhere, right?
It's true. It's just like, it's one of those things where I love a demo where you come away and you're like, I would pay you $100 to play this game now.
Well, they got $5 of your bucks already.
Yeah. So anyway, Dead Space Ignition, I really liked it. Next up, Comic Jumper.
Comic Jumper. So this comes from Twisted Pixel, the guys that gave us the Maw,
which I loved,
and Explosion Man,
which I loved.
Yeah, it was really awesome. And this one,
which I don't love.
So you played the trial.
Yes.
Tell me about the trial. Like, what's the game like?
So the game is there's 2 gameplay modes in the trial. You are running left to right, where you can do a punch or a kick, and you're jumping around doing a punch or kick, or you're running from left to right, and you can shoot a gun with the stick.
Yes. So you can actually do both.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think they don't teach you about the gun until later.
Okay.
But at the same time, basically, when they're too close to you, they punch.
Oh, okay.
But yeah. So you do a little bit of side-scrolling, brawling action.
Yeah. It's almost like a side-scrolling shmup when you get to the laser bitches.
Yeah.
And it's just.
And is it a fun shmup?
It is the opposite of fun. Like, so the thing that I wanted to give them so many props for was. The writing is really funny. Like they've got a lot of like just kind of zings and jokes and like
I think they did preload a lot of the decent content in the beginning.
Oh, really?
So I got a code for the game. That's why you were very shocked.
Yeah, you got a free play code. So you did not buy the game.
No, I did not buy the game. Yeah. I got a review copy of it.
And we're never getting another review copy from Twisted Pixel again.
I asked for 2, so you can get one.
Yeah.
But they're like, sorry, we can only afford 1. It's probably a good thing, but for you.
No, I'm just saying, like, in the future, we're never going to get to review their games again.
No.
We love your other games. I'm sorry.
You guys are good. I mean, but this one is just like, they tried, it feels to me like they try to up the production values of their other games. If you look at Explosion Man, there really wasn't much. Right? And frankly, I think that was a benefit.
Was a brilliant mechanic.
Yeah.
The game was just this perfect focus on this guy that acted exactly the way you wanted him to. It's like it was all perfect physics, hilarious, like all the writing was very funny.
To me, it felt like they took Sonic and made it palatable to you.
Yes, they did, basically. Absolutely.
Because to me, that's what it really felt like. It felt like a good take on the Sonic speed, going crazy, all timing-based stuff, really great stuff. This one, it feels to me like they spent 90% of their effort on voice acting, on writing, on interstitials, all this other stuff, in very small amount on the gameplay.
Yeah,
so the gameplay is...
It seems like an afterthought.
So
it seems
bad.
Yeah, you're just like you almost expect it to change into something else.
They do a couple of things differently. So the whole game's based off of you're a comic book character who's had their comic canceled, and you're trying to make a comeback to go into other people's comics.
Which is a funny premise.
It's really neat.
That's funny.
And stylistically wise, there's a lot of really ripe places to go.
Yeah.
I got as far as the next comic, which was the Groot, like not Conan the Barbarian style. So you go and then you have all this face paint, you're doing axes, but it's the exact same thing. Side scrolling, shoot some people. Instead of people throwing an energy ball at you, it's people throwing big thing of tile at you.
Right.
So pretty much the exact same thing. They do change it around a bit where you're almost like first person-y, where you're going and then you look, you shoot, and then you turn left, shoot, you turn right, shoot. Yeah. But then it goes back to its side scrolling. A bit. So they do a couple of things differently. They do have a lot of things, of interesting things with unlockables, of upgrades, weapon upgrades.
Yeah, I mean, you can go back in and there's little arcades in there where they mention, like they'll make little jokes about their previous games. They let you link to their previous games. I mean, everything was really well thought out except the game.
Well, yeah, but then like all the stuff you're talking about, the content and all that, it's like it just started feeling worse and worse.
Yeah.
So as you was going along, they'd have the jokes and it's just like,
it just wasn't. It didn't have the spark.
No, it's just like when you try to be funny but you're not, it's like one of the worst feelings, right?
Yeah.
Like I got a little bit of that, like at some of the other games, like not so much with Death Bank, but a couple of other games where they just spent so much time trying to be funny.
Yeah.
This one, it starts to wear on you because it's the same sort of humor over and over again.
Right. Well, the thing I didn't find funny was the face in the chest. Like his wisecracks were not funny.
And he's all throughout the game.
Yeah.
All of it, because like he'll talk with somebody else, and and he's just not a very funny character.
No.
These other people. So,
well, he's trying to be wise ass, but they didn't have the guts to make it edgy. So he's just kind of like, "Why are you such a poo poo?" And it's just like, meh, 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 meh. He didn't have he wasn't willing to take it to that next level where it's like the jokes are mean. It's just it's safe.
Almost it's like
safe.
T for team, but you don't want to go a little bit more. Where you have to go if you're going to make this kind of scruffy character like that. But it's like regardless, like all together, it's just like it's just like they didn't spend the time where they could have.
Right.
Twisted Pixel can make a kind of like a cute little platforming game. They can make a really good mechanics-based game. Yep. But then like they threw all this stuff at it, saying like, let's up the production values. That's our problem.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
like, everybody loved the Donut Song. Let's just add a bunch of stuff, right?
Which the song for Brad was actually hilarious. When he was fighting in the helicopters.
It was, yeah, but
well, I mean, I'm just saying that like they do have things that they do well, and they completely forgot the fun part.
Yeah, and the gameplay. It's just the gameplay is very repetitive and
not good. I mean, that's the thing is it's not like it's like repetitive but clever. It's just all these stupid people coming at you, and you know there's no challenge to the platforming. There's no interest in the just kind of shoot everybody that runs at you sort of thing. Like, well,
it's like they made it an exercise frustration because what you're doing is there's a lot of times where you're climbing something, and then you'd have these flying guys shoot you right at you,
right,
and you can't go left and you can't go right.
Exactly.
You have to jump, but when you jump, it's like one of the most frustrating. And they also have the ones where you're climbing up. And it's the same sort of thing. It's just like, who playtested this game and said, this is fun, ship it?
Exactly. I mean, it is a shmup, and it's all the things I don't like about a shmup, where it's just, you know, if I had to maybe memorize the levels, like, that would be the fun. Whatever. This game's shit.
Yeah, it's really bad. And it makes me sad, because I think Twisted Pistol has, like, a lot of good, talented people working for them, but they just need to not worry so much about high production values, and just worry about the gameplay.
Don't do anything until you have a gameplay mechanic that you think is brilliant. You know, just that like you had with Explosion Man, like you had with Maw, like those things were they were clever, and there's something I'd never seen before.
Yeah. And, you know, give the trial a try, because you can pretty much see all of what you're going to see in the game in the trial.
Yeah, if you play the trial and you love it, buy the game.
Give it a try, but
bad crap. Game. Next up, Def Jam Rapstar. I didn't play this. I was actually astonished when I saw you put this on the list.
I was just thinking, I'm just like, I guess I'll rent it, because you know, like I like some rap stuff.
I fucking love rap.
Like, you know, I'm not super huge in it, but my wife is.
Yeah.
So I know this would be one game that she might play.
That's awesome.
And I wasn't going to play it by myself.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, you know, I grabbed it. You know, I checked out some of the songs. They have a lot of songs. A lot of old school songs, a lot of new stuff, some stuff I've never heard of.
Yeah.
But when I was scrolling through...
I'd be down with, like, the Ice Cube and, like, the Dre and the old Biggie.
And they got all that.
Yeah.
Right? So, and I was actually scrolling through the songs, and my wife was sitting down, and she was, like, singing it. She was like, oh, yeah, I remember that. When I remember that, I'm like... They must have picked pretty well.
Yeah.
Because I don't recognize any of those songs, right? And then we did it and we played, but it's just like, you know, this game is pretty much take the game that, you know, Sabotage and Rock Band.
No, I hate that.
Put the music video for the song up in SD, because you know they never made HD video.
Oh, right, because they're old. They're from
all kind of like, and they kind of look like garbage.
Right.
And then basically put the words underneath, but instead of the lines when you're singing, dots for the rhythm.
That's exactly what I was afraid this game would be.
And the thing is, like, when you have the lines, because, you know, obviously some of these rap songs do have, like, the choruses where you sing, and you have to sing it just like any of the other songs. That part's fun, but it's just like...
How's the detection? Like, what did your wife think about in terms of, like, when she was singing the song?
She didn't really care. I mean, but again, she's not a gamer, right? She's just like, well, like, I like to rap with the song, right? And she was playing it.
Did she have a good time?
Yeah.
So I kind of figured this is one of those things where, you know, you get a bunch of people that like rap, you get a bunch of people drinking at a party, you know, whatever. It could be kind of fun, I guess.
Basically, she said it actually pretty well. It's just like, from her perspective, it's just like karaoke with not very many songs.
Yeah.
Because it's seriously, like, it's like 40-ish songs, like 30-ish songs, not 80.
Buy one of those microphones you can plug into your TV that has 1,000 songs on it.
Buy a CD for like $10 and buy a bunch of
just do real karaoke.
Yeah, and that's what it feels like. And like, to me, it's like you take rap and try to make a game around it. It just isn't fun. Because like going blah, 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 or whatever, right? It's just like it just isn't fun. And it's like, I can kind of see where you're going, because they try to do some other stuff where like, oh, take a video of yourself if you have a camera and post it online. That's kind of their social thing that they're trying to do differently.
Is it built into the game?
Yeah, it's built into the game. So you can go do multiplayer, you can do some other stuff. And I'm like, yeah, that's kind of cool, but I would never do that.
No.
Right?
No.
Maybe there's some segment of population out there. I don't think neither of us are it. I don't think that many NooBTooBers are it.
No, I mean, I think that if you're going to do the camera thing, I think that the way that the Kinect is doing it is kind of clever, with the whole take a snapshot of you or take a little video of you and play it at double speed.
Yeah,
you know, like
where it's not as embarrassing and not a raw.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. It's just kind of like, oh, haha, we all did this together.
Yeah.
But even still, I mean, like, I think that those games, I think that your wife had it exactly right, where it's just like, if you like doing that, get a karaoke machine for $100 and you'll have 1 billion songs. Yeah,
because the whole point of Rock Band and all this stuff is, like, you do it, you try to get better at it.
Yes.
But with rap and just doing the rhythmic thing,
it's a party game.
It's a party game. There's no game to it.
Yeah.
It's the same complaints I have to SingStar and a couple other ones, where it's just like the score really doesn't matter.
No.
But with Rock Band, guess what? When you're doing like with Rock Band 3 with Bohemian Rhapsody and 3 vocals on Expert, like, you better be freaking good.
You better be on your Freddie Mercury junk. You better have some tight pants and a scarf on.
That's right.
You better have some phone numbers of some horny dudes
David Bowie
in your
and some
phone.
Yes.
So
unfortunately, not my type of game.
Right.
New releases.
New releases. So Medal of Honor is coming out.
I'm not looking super forward to this.
Yeah.
I've already heard, so some people have already been playing it. Some people are saying, like Kate Father did a little quick review on it. He was saying that, it's just like, the single player is pretty much kind of like Modern Warfare and some of the ones, but not as good.
Yeah. And
multiplayer is kind of like Battlefield, Bad Company, and Modern Warfare, but not as good.
Yeah.
So I'm like, if you're not as good, why bother?
Right.
It's on my list to play, so
yeah.
I will give it a try sometime.
Yeah, we'll review when it comes out. So next up is Super Scribblenauts.
We did not like the first one.
We didn't. We liked what they were doing as a tech demo, which I thought was very clever as like a grad student project tech demo sort of thing.
I like what was it, over 10,000 different words.
Yeah.
You can make anything
it's
happen.
Brilliant. It's awesome. It's a cool idea.
Controls sucked. Controls were
terrible.
really bad where you actually had to tap. So my understanding from everybody that's been playing this game, they fixed a lot of the problems.
Mm-hmm.
That's what people remember. Do you remember that guy at PAX? I think I don't know if you were. Yeah, I think you were there. So we were going up the escalator or something like that. And
yes.
Yeah, some guy said, hey, like NooBTooB, and I'm like, what? And he's like, Scribblenauts, it's better. Or Super Scribblenauts, it's going to be better. I'm like,
I thought he was going to punch us in the fucking face.
Because I think he had a fifth cell or whatever, just like badge, and I'm like,
yeah, I think that was like one of the only people that it was one of the only people from the media that recognized this, and we were like, actually, like you said, we were going on the escalator, and he ran up, he's like, yes, we worked on Scribblenauts. And we were like, what? But I mean, he just said the new one's better, and from what I've seen, it's like you can add adjectives to the nouns now, so you can be gentlemanly dragon. He'll have like a top hat and a monocle,
a little bow tie.
Yeah.
They also fixed the controls where now it's D-pad.
Yes.
Which is huge. Because there's some various, I understand too, they also added some kind of brain teaser elements where some of the puzzles I like, where it's just like, here's something, think of something that matches those three, or has the same quality of those three.
Okay.
Right? So, to me, it's just like, okay, I will give you a try again, but I will be a little wary.
Yeah, for sure. It kind of illustrated to me that this, even done right, might not be the kind of game I want to play.
Really?
Just because there's, I don't know, there is just kind of making silly things to solve problems it doesn't tickle my brain the same way that solving a puzzle like through platforming does for me.
Yeah, see, for me, like everything, all the other stuff, fixing control didn't really sell me on it. It was the other stuff where they said they increased the puzzle aspects of it, where you have to be creative to come up with things to solve puzzles as opposed to...
And I'll totally play it. I'll totally play it because, I mean, like you said, what we've seen from all these videos, they took all the feedback and they made a better game, and it's like, if they did that, then they deserve our money.
So yes, I will give that a try, because I'm actually going to be traveling for the next couple of days, so I need a lot of DS-style
Perfect. Next up, Sonic the Hedgehog 4 Episode 1.
Yeah, so we'll review this next week. Yeah, I've already actually tweeted about this one. This one. Yeah.
I don't want to spoil it because let's not spoil it because
It's awesome.
I'm so very curious.
You played it too, right?
I did.
Yeah, so
feels to me just like the old Sonic. All right, so next up is Lufia, Curse of the Sinistrals.
Yeah. So I saw the title of this. I'm like, what the hell is a Lufia?
Yeah.
That's right.
It exfoliates.
Isn't that what Bill Riley used? Did you remember?
Bill Riley?
Bill Riley. Yeah, Bill Riley was talking about like falafels, right? He was trying to use.
Where are you? Come on! I didn't hear this. What the hell? Why is he scrubbing himself with falafels?
No, so basically he was busted for. I don't remember the details, but basically he was having an affair or something like that.
Yeah.
And they had recorded messages of him saying like, "Oh yeah, baby, I want to rub that falafel all over you," because he was getting it mistaken with a loofah.
Wow.
Dude, you gotta look this up.
How did I not hear about this?
It's hilarious.
So Bill O'Reilly isn't a dumb enough shithead fucking fart nozzle anyway.
So what were we talking about? But anyhow, so Lufia, Curse of the Sinistrals, I never heard of this game. My understanding is I think it came from the SNES era of games back in the day. But then I saw some videos.
We watched some gameplay videos before we did this episode. It looks badass.
Yeah.
It's like it's an action adventure RPG, so actually action RPG.
Which is key because turn-based RPGs besides Dragon Quest, I think I'm almost done with these games. Persona.
Yeah, but it's kind of fading. I mean, it doesn't hold as much interest for us. And if you go and you look at this, it's not just run in a static environment and fight dudes, which a lot of things like the Final Fantasy the one where on the PSP where we were doing the battle. It wasn't Versus. It was
Final Fantasy.
Yeah, god damn it. The one where it was like all it was. Maybe it was Versus. Damn it! You guys are totally going to remind me of what this was. It was the one where all the different characters from Final Fantasy were fighting each other.
Oh, I never played that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, but the point is a lot of these action RPGs these days are doing a static world that you wander around and just do kind of swings on monsters.
Yeah.
This one, there's all sorts of stuff where you're like jumping from moving platforms and building bridges and doing all this other stuff.
Full 3D?
Fully 3D.
On the DS, which, you look at a lot of full 3D games, they look kind of ass. But this one looks pretty damn, like, a lot of stuff is going on the screen.
Yeah.
Which, excites me a lot.
So I'm totally getting this. I mean,
I already have this, so it's on my to-be-played list. So.
Oh, perfect. All right, cool. So that is That's new releases.
Yes.
Each
week we like to feature actually, we should go to contest for Shoops real quick.
Oh, shit.
So Shoop 104, thank you very much, Woogie Mouse, for setting this up. I
got it. I'll figure it out.
So the winner of last week was...
One Cup by Nerdle is... Nerdrilz.
Nerdrilz.
So thank you very much for doing the Shoops. We very much enjoy it. I'm very curious to see, like... This wasn't the one from the Minecraft.
It's the One Cup episode.
Yes, that's right. So the One Cup. So thank you guys for doing that.
Yes. Each week I feature NooBTooB Army on the show. If you have send in videos with funny questions, stories, or whatever.
Hell yeah. And you can contact us toll-free at 888-233-8480 or send your files to feedback@noobtoob.com. Also, be sure to post them as your video responses on YouTube.
Yes, keep all videos under a minute if you want to be featured on the show.
Yes. So the first up is BioShock. We got a question from somebody who didn't leave a name.
No.
Yeah, I never called in before, but I want to know what you think about the BioShock Infinite demo thing. If it looks amazing, yeah.
Whoa, okay, well, yeah, BioShock Infinite.
So...
Holy shit.
Wow! See, the thing is I know that you and I have talked about this, and I can't for the life of me remember if we talked about this on the show. I don't think we
didn't
did.
get a chance to yet.
Yeah.
We did like 3 episodes, and it was...
Oh my god!
So if you don't have a chance yet, you can pause this right now to search for BioShock Infinite gameplay.
Right.
Probably.
Yeah. It's about 10 minutes long of gameplay from the new game. Highly scripted gameplay.
Yeah, but it looks like the real game.
It looks unbelievable. I mean, I totally understand what they're going for in this world. It's this kind of Americana from back when we were in our expansionist phase, but the way that they've made this world where it's like people can be firing cannons from different parts of the world, and you're like,
it's in the air.
Yeah.
And then to travel between different islands that are in the air, you have this hook thing, and you go, and it's like,
yeah, you're sliding.
You're
all
zip
over the
lining
place.
everywhere.
But I mean, the girl that you're with, so you have a telekinesis ability to like shoot things, so she can ball up physical objects, and then you're firing them, and it's clearly taking health away from her. Like there's going to be some sort of balancing element where she can only do so much before dying, or who knows what happens to her.
But yeah, there's
But 2012. Like they released 10 minutes of gameplay on a game that is 18 months away.
I can kind of see it though. You look at what their vision of what they want to do with this game. For them to do it to the level of they did it with BioShock. Yeah. It's like they got the amount of polish on this game is going to be intense.
They do. I mean, that's the thing is they get every square inch of these games right, and it looks like they're going to do the same with this one. So. Thank you for giving us this teaser.
They did this with BioShock too. Remember, like 18 months before BioShock came out,
did they do
it was
that
like
long?
At least a year, like a long time before the game came out. They had the Big Daddy killing that guy, and it wasn't gameplay. It was just for video. But it's just like they captured a vision so well with this that. They just did it again.
Yeah, so, I mean, clearly this game is by at launch, but now we're going to be chomping at the bit for all of next year.
Yes,
so thank you and fuck you for doing that to us.
Levine.
And then next up is Blake316.
Oh, yeah.
What's up, NooBTooB? This is Blake316, second-time caller, also calling episode 66. And I just have to say, it's been 2 weeks now, and you guys haven't reviewed Halo Reach. What is going on? Seriously, this is the best game of all time. I love Halo Reach. I even went as far as starting my own religion called Master Chiefism, where it's the study of belief that Master Chief is God, and you guys haven't reviewed this game? What is going on? I need to know your opinions and thoughts on this game. Is it thumbs up or is it thumbs down? But I hope it's really thumbs up. Okay, I'm out of breath. Yeah, okay, yeah.
Well, okay. So Tobin and I talked about this.
We didn't want to give a review because we know that if you're a big fanboy of Halo, you've already bought the game and you already love it.
Yeah, so it's not very useful, right?
Yeah, but
like we're not Halo guys,
but people have been asking and asking me. It's been weeks and weeks of people asking us for it. I don't know. Yeah. What do you think?
Well, I mean, so we heard of this before, and we're like, okay, we'll play it. We'll give it a chance.
Yeah. So we went and we played a whole bunch of it, and we've formulated our opinions on it.
Yeah. So I mean, so here's what we think about it, right?
Yeah.